In this video, we are going to do an example on Android Studio. First of all, we start a new project. In the project layout, we are going to put text view and button. The default layout is constraint layout. In the XML file, you can change the constraints of the widgets. In this button, we set the left and right constraints. On the right, if you see the viewer attributes, you select. You can see the constraints of the corners or sides. And button and text view, both of them are set with the screen right and left sides. Also, button's top is set to text view, and button is linked with text view. In this part, we can set the onclick property of the button. If you write Android onclick, and you need to give the name of the method. When you give the method, it suggests you to insert a new method with this name. And here we started the method, and in the content we use a toast message. An example is given with the toast message. Toast message has a static member, and this member needs three parameters. The first parameter is the context, the next parameter is the message, and the next parameter is the duration. And after you call the show method, you will get the result. When we start the application, we can get the result. We can test the application. When we press the button, you can see the button click message on the bottom side of the screen. The next example will change the text view content. Now we are going to access the object by writing the find view by ID statement. We need to give a variable name. Here I give tx1. After that, find view by ID is called by giving the ID of the widget r.id.textView3. After that, you need to cast the text view, because find view by ID returns only view, the generic object. When you cast it, you can now access by the variable name, and here we use the setText method. And now we are going to define another example. I will use two extra text view. We can change the previous constraints by pushing this button. Clear all constraints, clears all of the previous constraints given in the previous example. And I'm going to set the left side of the first text view to align with the screen, and the right text view on the right side is set to the right of the screen. The middle text view is set to the both of the text views by connecting the left and right side. After, we can set the spacing value to 32, and here you see we also need to define the button's top to the text view component. I will set also a big spacing value 60, and here now I will give a new ID to this button. Button get parameter. And I change the text of the button as insert. In the main screen, I set 3 text view and 1 button. After that, I will change this method. I will define a new method. And also I want to put another button. And this button will show us the about screen. I set the constraints and I linked this button to the previous button, and I will also set the left and right side constraints. Here you can see I will change the spacing value, and I will give a new ID and the text value button about, and I will set the text value as about app. And now I will set 2 new onclick for the first and the next button, letter button. This Android onclick, I will write a new method name. This is button about. So about app click. I give a name like this. After I press Alt Enter, it gives us a suggestion. In this suggestion, you can insert this method. And I want to also give a new method for the insert button. So I write insert button click. For this, I press Alt Enter and I select the event choice. The first method is not used in this example, so I will write 2 new methods. The first method is about app click. So we need a new activity. I'm going to insert a new activity for about app. A new activity is insert by right click on the project structure on the right, on the left. When you right click on the app, you can select from the pop-up menu. And I right click. And on the new menu, I select the empty activity. I will give a name as about activity. Here, a new activity is inserted, and we are going to insert some text view to give information about this application. I will also insert a close button. We need 4 or 5 text view. We need to set the constraint values. No, we don't need to change the ID. We need to change the text values. In the first text view, I give the application name as sample application. We can also select these values from the string resource. So if you define the application name, you can also set the text value according to the string value given in the related resources XML file. But I give constant values in this example. We need to set the alignment of these widgets. But first of all, I insert the content. All of the widgets are centered on the screen, and the vertical alignment is set by linking the widgets. I want to change also the size of the font. So button is aligned on the bottom. I will give the name as the button close. Button close about. If you want to change, first of all, we can change the spacing values. The first digit spacing values is set to 32. After the space of between the widgets are set also 32. On the bottom, you can see view all attributes in the attributes panel. And if you want to change the other attributes, properties of the widget, you need to click on it, and you can change the other properties. In this part, the size of the font size is very small, so I want to change also the background of the screen. I copy an extra XML file from outside. So here I will set the background of the activity with this IC launcher background. Also, we need to change the color of the font. At the bottom here you can see the font related, text related properties. Here I set it light color. I select this. After I change the text size as 18 sp or 24 sp. 24 is better. And here I will copy this property from the first widget and I will set it by copy and paste to the other widgets. So you can also set the others from the attributes panel, but it is easy if you cut and copy and paste. And now all of the text field has the same color and size, but this is not aligned on one line, but I will insert another text view now. I linked three sides of this with text widget, and I will also change the color and the size, font size. We need to copy again the property of the widget and we set it okay. And now the design is okay, finished. And now we can call it from the main activity by pressing the About App button. But how? We need to use an intent in this part. Okay. In the first usage, you see that the import is not written on the top. So when you click Alt Enter, it automatically insert this line. But you can also write it manually. New activity intent must be called with a new statement. New statement give you a new instance of this class as an object. There are two parameters in it. You need to give the first context, and the next will be the others class. So calling start activity by using this parameter, the new activity will be opened. And let's test. And here you see, but we didn't write the close button, close click event. We need to set it. We can use another usage. We are going to link this event on click listener on the code to give the exam, the other usage type. You can also use Android click property. You can directly use this. I write it, you close about activity, click, close about activity button click, alt enter, and this new method is inserted into about activity file. These buttons left and right constraints are not set. So now we will use startActivityForResult in this part of the video. I corrected the left and right side of the insert button, and we are going to write the insert button click now in this part. We also need a new activity. In this activity, we will insert three widgets by writing the content. After OK button is clicked, the content will be sent to the main activity. So we are going to change the layout design first. In this layout design, we need to put two text view and one first of all, we can use two OK and cancel buttons. The first is cancel, the next is OK. When you click cancel, we cancel the process of the insertion, but when you click OK, the content will be sent to the main activity. So first of all, we set the text of these captions of these buttons, and we will give correct IDs to memorize the usage purpose of these buttons. This is button cancel. This is button OK. In the right side, in the left side, sorry, palette contains some different widgets. So we can organize these with using table row and table layout. You cannot use table row directly. You need to put the table row into table layout. So I delete. First of all, I put table layout and we insert table row. Here it automatically insert 5 table row, but we need only 3. I will erase the others. So we will use text view and we will use plain text. Text view will give a hint. Plain text will be used to get from the user data from the user. I will change the text view caption. We don't need to change the ID. Sorry, I will correct it. We need to change the text property of the text view. I set it as username. I will also set the hint property of the plain text. Enter username. Sorry, you need to change when you write name. It gets the string XML or other resources. I clone this table row and I want to get the password. The next will be the role of the user. We can use another widget in this part. So first of all, password. We need a password widget here. Specialized text views are defined in this text. We can see different widgets. Layouts, containers, Google legacy, widget button, and text. And common includes different widgets. I will use a checkbox. You can also use toggle button, radio button, etc. I will use a checkbox. If it is checked, it means admin role is specified. I correct the constraints. I will give extra spacing to the buttons. And now it's okay. We have totally 2 text view, 1 checkbox, 2 buttons on the design. And now we can write the other parts. In this activity, I want to implement the onclick listener on the main activity class. So I write implements view onclick listener. If you write it, it gives an error. This means that you need to override the onclick method. So when you press Alt Enter, it will guide you and it will put this method on your code. First of all, we have 2 buttons. So which button is pressed? We need to determine it. We use if statement and we get a parameter as y, you see, we can get the ID by using getID method, and we can check it by using the constant values r.id.button cancel. So if button cancel is pressed, we need to set the result as result cancelled. We need to set it to the send it to the main activity. So data transferring with intent is used in this example. In the next button OK, when you press button OK, we give this button OK in the design part. So we set the result as result OK, and we need to send an extra data. We need to use intent in this part. Intent includes some extra information data. Also import the main package. First of all, intent must be initialized by using new statement. In this example, we don't need to give context values because we are only sending the extra data. We will put it to the setResult method as a second parameter. So we can use putExtra methods. Polymorphism here you see. So different variable types can be sent to these methods. First of all, we need to access the objects, edit text, and the checkbox. So I need to get the reference by using these variable names. I will give et username un, et pwd. Also, we need an instance of the checkbox. I give cbadmin. I will connect these variables to the objects. So I will use findView by ID, and I will give the ID of the checkbox and edit texts. etun is the variable which references the object. Which object? r.id.editText. etpwd is the next object variable, and it will reference the other widget. I will use the same findView by ID statement, and we need to cast it to edit text type because findView by ID send us view object. And here we can access the text on it. ToString. And also the other administrator role. So I will give a parameter name as user role here. When you click the checked property, is checked will give us the check property of the checkbox. And we will send this return data intent as a second parameter of the set result. In the first cancel We don't need to give extra data. We directly call finish. Finish closes this activity. We set the result of the return type as result cancelled. On the other hand, we set as result OK, so we have extra data. This data will be accessed, it will be obtained on the main activity now. But first of all, we can test it. There's a problem. It failed, it didn't build. Where is it? Here you can see the problem. First of all, we need to set the ID of the widgets because we copy and paste. So we will give extra number to them. Text view is used only for caption. Third of them is used before the checkbox. So we correct it. What about the next problem? We have also an extra error. But first of all, we will link these buttons to the onclick method of the activity. Accessing these objects, we can bind its onclick listener event to the activity. So clicking on them will send this event to the activity. Activity will do this process. And now we can get the transfer data from the main activity. In the main activity, first of all, we will call the sub activity. We will also use another intent in this part, which is given in the about. But calling this activity is different from the previous example. In the previous about app, we use startActivity, but in this part, we will use startActivityForResult method. StartActivityForResult also needs two parameters. The first one is the main activity. Here you see the intent takes the main activity context and the new class. And we give this intent to the startActivityForResult. Also, startActivityForResult needs one extra parameter. This parameter will determine which activity is called. After it sends this data, we can determine which activity sends this data. So we need to give a constant value for it. We can define these constant values on the class. I write a new variable here, request code insert activity, and give it value 1. We will give this parameter directly. And now the new activity will be opened by calling startActivityForResult. But there's one difference. It will send us a feedback. And we also need an extra method. We need to override this method. This method belongs to the appCompatActivity class. its name is ONACTIVITYRESULT. It is overridden, and now we can control the request code, because this method is called when the other activity finishes. So which activity is closed and which data is sent to us? We need to check it by using the request code. We first of all set it request code. So we can use a switch statement in this part. If you have a lot of activities, so you can determine it by using this request code. But here it gives an error. It says that in the switch statement we cannot use a variable. We need to use, in the case part, we need to use a constant value. So I will change the private byte. This is a variable, so we need to set constant value in this part. And the constant values are all the name of the constant values will be all capitalized. I will change it to request code for insert activity. Public static final byte will determine the constant value, and all of the uppercase, I use uppercase, record insert activity. The constant value will be also 1. And now this constant value can be given to the switch. We erase the first variable, so we need to set it to the constant value in the startActivityForResult method. We write it. And now if this activity sends us this data, we can get it from the data parameter. But what about the result code? Result code also important because it gives us a result, but this answer is coded by the result code. In the previous activity, we use result OK, result cancelled. So we can check it. If result cancelled, there is no data. But if result OK, the data is sent, and we can access it from the data parameter. First of all, sorry, it's wrong. If the result code is okay, the data can be accessed by data parameter. Data parameter data intent includes 3 extra value data. These are written when OK button pressed, 2 text view and 1 checkbox. Name pwd rstring. Checkbox will send us boolean value is name and pwd, 3 variables. We are getting the data from the intent by calling getString extra and username and password taken, and getBoolean extra can be used to get the other admin role. in this part, we need to give a correct name. The first one is TV user. The second one will be TV password. Please press the button. Yes, okay. And the TV admin role is admin. Okay. This variable stores these values sent by the insert activity, and these can be sent to the widgets to display on the main screen. We can use instances. These instances will be used to call the setText method. setText method will change the value shown on the screen. Find view by ID used to get the reference of these instances, these objects. And now these variables are sent to the widgets. Name pwd is admin. Is is a boolean variable, so we can check it by using if statement. If it is true, then admin. If it is not true, then normal. There's an error. There are two errors in our code. The first one is the cannot find symbol method put. The next one is the get boolean extra in class intent cannot be applied to given types required. So there are two errors in our code. The first one is main activity. The next one is insert item activity. Here is admin. Is set by calling get boolean extra. Admin role. Okay. We will correct it. We will fix it in the insert item activity. Here no, in the main activity get boolean extra needs and default value. So inserting this will correct it. Yes, it's okay. Then we click insert the new activity started. I will write the username and the password and the role. I check it. I click and we get wrong values. Android support version 7. Where is the problem? The problem is in the name and the pwd, but these errors come from the insert item activity. Because we use toString, we need to change it toString give us the object. So directly calling toString, it write the all of the object properties. We need to first call get text. After that, we need to change it to string because it is a char sequence. It is in the char sequence type. We need to change it to string. We need to use toString to change it to the string variable type. I write the username and I give a password. I give the administrator role. Yes, here you see name koyulu 1 2 3 and administrator Ahmet 1 2 3. It's an Bye. See you in the next video. Please subscribe.